Up next on ESPN, Mississippi State Northwestern facing off in the Gator Bowl. Happy New Year. Maybe Northwestern can finally end the bowl drought.
Come on, Big Ten. Have a good day.
You're watching ESPN's presentation of Capital One Bowl Week.
Northwestern hasn't won a bowl game since 1949. And the Wildcats have had many a bowl heartbreak over the last 64 years. With near misses on New Year's Day alone, 2 of the last 3 years to Auburn and Texas Tech. But this could finally be their time. A dynamic triple threat junior in Kane Coulter is complemented by the 4th leading rusher in the Big Ten, Benrick Mark, with the 2 combining for 23 rushing touchdowns. Today, the Wildcats face a Mississippi State defense loaded with talent. From freshman linebacker Bernardrick McKinney manning the middle to the back end with Thorpe Award winner Jonathan Banks. Mississippi State meets Northwestern in the TaxSlayer.com Gator Bowl now. Welcome to Jacksonville and a perfect day for football as we welcome you to the TaxSlayer.com Gator Bowl. It's the Bulldogs of Mississippi State taking on the 20th ranked Wildcats of Northwestern. Here come the Wildcats. Welcome to Jacksonville. Bob Wischusen alongside Danny Cannell. Allison Williams will join us in just a moment. What is better than college football on New Year's Day? And we start things off, a long day of football and a lot of great matchups with Northwestern and Mississippi State. And Danny Cannell, 2 programs who really will make or break their seasons based on what happens today.
Yeah, for Northwestern, the motivation is obvious. They're looking for their first bowl win in 64 years. So they want to end that streak, come out, they're going to need an impressive performance. Then for Dan Mullen, the head coach of Mississippi State, this is a team that started off 7-0, but they lost 4 out of their last 5 games. So they want to go into the offseason with some momentum and get that bad taste out of their mouth.
Well, the nice part about bowl season is you've got 3 weeks to a month to prepare for your bowl game, and that certainly helps if your quarterback has a sprained ankle. That obviously the case coming out of the last game of the season for Mississippi State.
Yeah, Tyler Russell, a Mississippi State quarterback, he is an impressive, maybe the most underrated quarterback in the SEC. He's set or broken or tied 9 passing records for Mississippi State, but he is a pocket passer. He's banged up against Ole Miss. They have to protect him in order for him to set his feet and make throws down the field.
Well, Tyler Russell stays in the pocket. Kane Coulter does not. A dual, arguably a triple threat player.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about players, if they're a dual threat, that's a great thing. Kane Coulter is the triple threat. He can run, he can pass, and he can split out as a wide receiver and make catches down the field. So he's the type of player that gives defensive coordinators nightmares.
Will the drought finally end for Northwestern? We find out. Let's go down to the field and Allison.
Thank you very much, Coach Fitzgerald. You've been a part of 7 bowl games at Northwestern as either a player or coach. That win remains elusive. What would a victory today mean to this program?
Well, I'd be ecstatic for our seniors. They've done so much for us. They're already the all-time winningest senior class, but we talked about putting an exclamation point on their great careers, and what a great opportunity and a beautiful day here at the Gator Bowl.
What will be the key today for Kane Coulter against this Mississippi State secondary?
Well, you're going to always have to execute, right? I mean, that's in a bowl game. You had a couple of weeks off, and go out and execute early. Don't put yourself in a hole, and be great on 3rd down.
Coach, thanks.
Thanks. Go Cats.
Allison, thanks very much. It's the Big Ten meeting the SEC here in Jacksonville when we come back.
Welcome back to the TaxSlayer.com Gator Bowl with Mississippi State head coach Dan Mullen. Coach Mullen, your quarterback Tyler Russell sprained his ankle in the final game of the regular season. What are your expectations for him?
He's been fine. He had a great week of practice all week. We gave him a couple weeks rest. That's the great thing about the time up for the bowl game, and he should be good to go today.
What is the key for your team defensively when it comes to facing this fast-paced Northwestern offense?
Well, be sound, hit our gaps, get lined up, and not let the speed affect us.
Coach, thank you.
Thank you.
Bob?
Allison, thanks very much. And it's not the speed normally of a Big Ten team against an SEC team that has the SEC team worried, but Dan Mullen's going to have his offense out on the field to begin. Northwestern won the toss, deferred their option to the second half. So already it'll be Tyler Russell on the first drive of the game testing that ankle. Jeff Budzine will kick it deep. Check that, Steve Flaherty will kick it deep. And Jamion Lewis and Robert Johnson back deep to receive. And we might have a clock issue here at Everbank Field. That's, at least to start, going to delay the beginning of the TaxSlayer.com Gator Bowl. And as we said, Danny Cannell, how important this game is for both teams. Mississippi State's trying to keep the longest active bowl winning streak alive. Northwestern, they're just trying to win one. The 1949 Rose Bowl, their one and only bowl victory.
Both teams heavily motivated to finish off their season with a win. Should be a tightly contested game as well.
Now we've got 15 minutes up on the clock and we're set to go. Lewis lets it go through the back of the end zone. So it's Tyler Russell, who this season set records at Mississippi State for yards thrown, completion percentage, touchdowns. He had 8 games of 200 or more yards passing. That also a Bulldog record.
Really impressed when I watched Tyler Russell on some film from their season, but that's with one caveat. They have to protect him. He's got to be able to set his foot in the pocket, but when he does, when he has time, he can pick you apart.
22 touchdowns against only 6 interceptions. The 9th best single season interception to attempt ratio in SEC history coming into today. And he'll start through the air. Swings it to the sideline. Making a move out to about the 31-yard line is Arcito Clark as we take a look at the impact players for the Bulldogs.
Well, we talked a lot about Tyler Russell. The best advantage he's got going for him, he's got a strong running game led by Ladarius Perkins. And then defensively, the two obvious playmakers for them are their cornerbacks, Jonathan Banks and Darius Slade. They are lockdown corners. They're tall, they're physical. They are as impressive as you see.
Smooth throw. This one dropped by Clark. It'll be 3rd down and 4. As Northwestern will try to get off the field on defense to begin, as we take a look at Danny Cannell's keys for Mississippi State.
Well, we've already harped a lot on the importance of protecting Tyler Russell, and then defensively, you say you got to bark, bark, bark. These are the Bulldogs. They have got to communicate defensively when they're dealing with Northwestern's offensive scheme. It's a lot of misdirection, quick-hitting passes. They're going to have to talk.
In the slot right is Chad Bumpus. That's the favorite target of Tyler Russell. On 3rd down, he'll swing it wide, and it's intercepted. Down the sideline, Quentin Williams dives for the goal line. Touchdown. What a start for Northwestern.
Wow, Quentin Williams, the defensive end, watch what he does right there. Starts to rush the passer, recognizes it's a quick pass, then drops into coverage, gets right in the passing lane, showing off some athleticism for a big 6'4", 255-pound defensive end.
A 29-yard pick six by your defensive end gets the Wildcats the early lead. Nothing better than football on New Year's Day. And nothing better for Northwestern fans than the start the Wildcats are off to. 7-0 on the 3rd career interception for Quentin Williams. The pick six that gives Northwestern the 7-0 lead. And we're right back where we started. Northwestern kicking off, this time a short hop returnable for Jamion Lewis. And he is out to about the 27-yard line before he's brought down. Back to the interception, Danny, and how tough this is for a quarterback to read.
Here's one more look at it. You're going to see Quentin Williams right here. Now watch his action. He comes up, tries to rush, recognizes it's a 3-step drop, then drops into coverage. Now Tyler Russell, your quarterback, is to your left, which is your hardest thing to see. He thinks, hey, I'm going to hit my check down. It's going to be out there waiting for me. They only rush 3. But Quentin Williams, great job recognizing the quick hitting pass. Now Dan Mullen saying, hey, you got to see that. But that is one of the toughest things to see. Throwing to your left, going to your check down late.
They'll start this drive on the ground. Making a move to the outside is Ladarius Perkins, and he's close to a 1st down. Brought down about a yard shy. It'll be 2nd down and 1. Ladarius Perkins, 6th best in the SEC in rushing yards per game at a little under 86 yards as he's closing in on a 1,000-yard season.
I think the best thing you can do to kind of calm down Tyler Russell after he spotted Northwestern 7 points with a pick 6, get that running game going, kind of take some of that load off of him, get some positive plays.
Throws left, wide open. Chris Smith, gang tackled at the 46-yard line. That's a gain of 11.
I think this is going to be an area that's going to be a challenge for Northwestern defensively. I think their front 7, they match up pretty well against Mississippi State. They may not be as big and physical, but their speed can kind of offset that. In the secondary, though, remember we covered them early in the game in the year against Nebraska. They struggled shutting down Nebraska's passing attack. So they're going to be tested on the outside in some of these man-to-man matchups.
A couple of tight ends in the backfield on either side of Ladarius Perkins. And Perkins tries the left side this time. Gets tripped up after a gain of 2. Damian Proby, the leading tackler for that Northwestern defense, came up to make the stop.
Damian Proby's had a phenomenal year for Northwestern. Really the centerpiece, the Mike linebacker, does a lot of communicating for this defense, makes the calls. See him looking at his wristband. Like double checking the last call, seeing what's coming up next.
Out of the pistol on 2nd down and 8. Perkins breaks a tackle, has another first down. Still on his feet, driving down to about the 37-yard line. The ball pops out, but he will be ruled to have had his forward progress stopped after a 12-yard gain.
That's what you're going to see out of Ladarius Perkins. He's your typical SEC back. He is tough, he's physical, got a low center of gravity, and he is powerful. Watch him after the first point of contact. Just carry 2-3 Northwestern defenders along. Now, he's got to be careful with that football because Northwestern will try to strip that ball.
Perkins only a junior and already in the top 6 in career all-purpose yards at Mississippi State. Russell on at least his 2nd, if not his 3rd option over the middle for a gain of 5 to Chad Bumpus.
So far, Mississippi State has done a nice job protecting Tyler Russell. I really think that's going to be a critical piece to this game. Northwestern's tried a couple blitzes so far to pressure him. He's doing a good job making quick decisions, getting the ball out of his hand. Of course, it's going to be interesting to watch his ankle to see how it holds up.
2nd down and 6. And a little read option. Russell on a keeper. He's got a first down. That's not really what you expect to see out of Tyler Russell with the sprained ankle, a pocket passer, and didn't look like Northwestern expected it either.
Not at all. Do you expect Tyler Russell to run a zone read? Watch him here, just your typical zone read action. He's going to stick it in Perkins' belly. Says up, I'm going to keep it myself. Splits the middle of Northwestern's defense now at the end of that play. Just get out, just slide towards the end, but protect yourself, you know?
Spoken like a true scrambling dual threat quarterback,
That's
Danny
right.
Cannell. 7th play of the drive as Russell tries to bounce back from the pick 6. Empty backfield. And a 4-man rush is well protected. High throw to the sideline. That one's intercepted. Ibrahim Campbell jumps in front, makes the pick, and steps out of bounds at the 14-yard line.
Bob, the passing game is all about timing and rhythm. That time, Tyler Russell just a split second late on that throw, trying to hit the corner route, but Ibrahim Campbell, look at him, that one just split second too long with that football. Ibrahim Campbell steps right in front. Northwestern up 7, and they got the ball looking to make it 14.
If you want to know why people choose to live in Florida, the couple days we've had down here getting ready for the TaxSlayer.com Gator Bowl, a good reason. Northwestern off of 2 takeaways, a shovel pass to Dan Vitale from Kane Coulter. So 2 offensive possessions to start the game for Mississippi State after throwing only 6 interceptions the entire season. 2 picks thrown by Tyler Russell. And these are 2 teams that are used to winning the turnover battle, but it's a big advantage to Northwestern to start. 2nd and 7. Wide receiver hitch to Christian Jones. And he is hammered out of bounds at about the 22-yard line by Jonathan Banks after a gain of 5. Brings up 3rd down and about 2.
It'll be interesting to see how Mississippi State responds to some of this early adversity. Remember, this is a team that really stumbled into a finish of the season, losing 4 out of their last 5. So Dan Mullen's going to have to regroup this team and say, hey, we've got to fight our way back into this game.
Four-man rush on 3rd and 2. Coulter, he'll scramble, get to the edge, breaks a tackle, picks up the 1st down, all the way out to the 32-yard line. Deontay Skinner missed a chance to bring down Kane Coulter. And Danny, that is the dimension of Kane Coulter's game that's probably the most difficult to defend.
Yeah, Kane Coulter is probably the polar opposite of Tyler Russell from Mississippi State. He is not going to sit in the pocket. He's going to get on the outside, hit those edges, pick up those 1st downs on critical 3rd downs for you, and also run the zone read quite a bit.
First chance for Venrick Mark. No gain on 1st down for Mark. Banks and Cam Lawrence combine on the tackle as we take a look at the impact players for the Wildcats.
Well, as much as we talk about Kane Coulter and his dual triple threat ability, their identity is Venrick Mark. They've got to be able to rush the ball behind him. Not the biggest back, a little bit smaller. And then defensively, Tyler Scott, he's the sack master for them on the corner, although Quentin Williams already made a nice play at the other defensive end.
Batali out on the edge, picks up 7. It'll be 3rd down and 3 after we check in with Robert Flores.
Happy New Year's Day, guys. Update on ESPNU's Heart of Dallas Bowl, played at the Cotton Bowl. Oklahoma State up 7-0 on Purdue. Clint Shelf to Charlie Moore. 1st quarter, Cowboys up on the Boilermakers. Guys?
3rd down and 3. Northwestern trying to keep the drive alive. Coulter with pressure coming off the edge, escapes again. 2 for 2, running for it on 3rd down for Kane Coulter. Let's take a look at Northwestern keys for Danny Cannell.
Well, offensively, we talked about Venrick Mark, the importance of getting him involved. They have to do that today. And then defensively, they don't have any superstars. That's what Pat Fitzgerald, their head coach, told us yesterday. He said, we are a no-name unit. We need to all play together as a team.
Again, a little pitch to the outside. This time it's Venrick Mark, and he picks up a yard. Darius Slay came up to make the stop. The strength of this Mississippi State defense, Danny, it seems, obviously, a couple of really good linebackers, but terrific corners. Jonathan Banks wins the Thorpe Award, the #1 defensive back in college football. Darius Slay on the opposite side. About 3 tough yards up the middle as we go down to Allison.
Well, guys, keep in mind this Bulldogs defense dealing with some coaching changes. First of all, Melvin Smith left for Auburn, their cornerbacks coach. Also, Coach Mullen choosing to switch things up today. He's having Jeff Collins call the plays instead of Chris Wilson. He said he wanted to give Collins the opportunity. Also, they struggled against the spread. This way, Wilson can just focus on the D-line.
Well, Allison, they've struggled against the spread on 3rd down as Kane Coulter has scrambled for 2 3rd-down conversions on this drive, and now it's 3rd down and 7.
Mississippi State talked about spying Kane Coulter. Whoever's the job of spying him, make sure they need to know where he is.
Only a 3-man rush. Coulter throws for it this time. Terrific throw to the outside to Christian Jones, and 3 for 3 on 3rd down is Northwestern.
Well, a solid start for Northwestern offensively and defensively, but Kane Coulter looks very comfortable in the pocket, making great decisions, knowing when to tuck and run it when nothing's there, and then that time picking up the 1st down through the air.
Coulter, a little zone read. And it's Tyrus Jones picking up close to 4 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 6.
Remember, both these coaches, when you're dealing with bowl season, you have those extra practices, a lot of extra time. That can be a good thing, but sometimes a bad thing. Coaches love to put in extra plays. It's a lot of little wrinkles. You'll see some trick plays. They'll take some shots as well.
Henrik Mark motions to the near side. Coulter instead goes to the opposite side. Another shovel pass to Vitale, and he breaks free. Dan Vitale tripped up. Jay Hughes saved the touchdown.
And Dan Vitale might be the surprise of the season for Northwestern. The true freshman plays the super back for them. Here he is right here. Watch his action. Just coming in on a little shovel pass. Mississippi State kind of loses him. Then the missed tackles there for Mississippi State. And Vitale picks up a huge gain.
Coulter takes a shot at the end zone, and it's incomplete. He had Venrick Mark with a step, but overshot him. That's the first incompletion for Kane Coulter, off to a 6-for-7 start.
Yeah, Kane Coulter would have loved to have that pass back, put a little bit more air underneath that pass, let Venrick Mark run underneath it, because he was clearly had 2 or 3 steps on the Mississippi State defender.
This is the first drive of the game for the offense for Northwestern. A pick 6 to start the game gives them the 7-0 lead, and a drive that began back inside their own 15-yard line has marched to the Mississippi State 14, where it's 2nd and 10. A little counter handoff to Tim Riley. And some pushing and shoving after the whistle, as it'll be 3rd down and about 7. Devin Jones made the stop.
Guys are a little chippy out there. Been reading a lot. You got that, another thing about bowl season, that much more time to spend with the media. You start reading what the other team's saying about you.
Fourteenth play of the drive, 3rd down and 8. Play clock down to 5. Coulter has to hurry to get the snap off. It goes to zeros, and he does not get the play off. It'll be delay of game.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Well, Danny, you mentioned there was some bulletin board material between these two teams. Here's what strong safety Corey Broomfield had to say when he was asked about Northwestern running back Venrick Mark or the athletes overall for the Wildcats. When a guy's fast in the Big Ten, he stands out. If he was in the SEC, he would be just another player. That's the difference.
Now, we asked both coaches about this. Dan Mullen from Mississippi State played it down, not a big deal, but of course, Pat Fitzgerald said he posted that quote up in every Northwestern meeting room, so they would read about that all leading up to this bowl. So far, it's paying off.
3rd and 13. Coulter, high ball to the end zone, incomplete, over the top of Tony Jones, as Devin Jones came and delivered a hit on Kane Coulter. So the delay of game forces 3rd down and long, and Mississippi State gets the stop. It'll be a field goal attempt.
That's where you're going to see Northwestern attack Mississippi State in the passing game. They're not going to be able to make plays on the outside. It's going to be on the middle of the field.
Jeff Budzine, first team All Big Ten place kicker from 34 yards out. And it's a 2-score lead for Northwestern to start off the TaxSlayer.com Gator Bowl here in Jacksonville. Off to a good start in the TaxSlayer.com Gator Bowl. A terrific start for Northwestern as they've got the 10-0 lead over Mississippi State. And we are just beginning a New Year's Day full of football across our ESPN networks, as the granddaddy of them all will come up later on today as well, as we'll have the Rose Bowl game for you. That'll be a great matchup, and the day will wrap up later on tonight down in Miami with the Orange Bowl. From the 4-yard line, Jamion Lewis hit and stood up at about the 24. It'll be Monte Ball leading the Badgers against the vaunted Cardinal D in the granddaddy of them all. The Rose Bowl game presented by Vizio. Wisconsin against number 6 Stanford. Coverage begins at 4:30 this afternoon on ESPN, also live on the Watch ESPN app. All right, Danny Cannell. We've got a couple of BCS games to talk about today.
Yes,
That's
we do.
The first.
That'll be a fun. I think Stanford's just going to be too much. Wisconsin, though, Barry Alvarez maybe providing a little extra for them, but 7-5.
Tyler Russell back to work with 2 interceptions, and that one An incompletion to start off this drive, right through the hands of Chad Bumpus.
This is where I like to look at a quarterback to see how they respond. It's easy when everybody's wide open and you're picking apart defenses, but how you respond to adversity, that tests your mettle, and that tests how well you're going to be. You have to have a short memory. You've got to be able to overcome a poor start. Tyler Russell with 2 interceptions, costing his team with 7 points and also a minimum a field goal as well.
Josh Robinson starting this drive at tailback for Ladarius Perkins, brought down by Tyler Scott. Now it's going to be 3rd down and long, and already you see that energy over on that Northwestern sideline. They understand, I think, the opportunity that they've given themselves early in this game to really take control.
Well, Pat Fitzgerald, he's such a fiery coach. You know, you can tell it wasn't that long ago when he was roaming that defensive back front, you know, going as a linebacker. He is fired up, trying to get this crowd into it on a critical 3rd down.
Russell wants the screen on the backside, and it's not a chance. Robinson brought down by Scott for a loss of 3 or 4. And it's 3 downs and out for the Bulldogs.
Screen pass set up here for Tyler Russell, trying to give him an easy throw. See Josh Robinson sneak through there, but a nice job by Tyler Scott shedding that offensive lineman, kind of brushing him aside, fighting his way through the block to make the tackle. So far, Northwestern is just having way more energy, enthusiasm in this game than Mississippi State.
Henrik Mark calls for a fair catch at the 37-yard line of Northwestern. So with a 10-point lead, after only a 39-yard punt, the Wildcats have terrific field position at their own 37. And they are humming on both sides of the ball.
I think that'll be something to watch, though. How, you know, can Northwestern sustain the enthusiasm, the energy? Football's, you know, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's a long game. You still got a lot of football left. You've got to maintain that level of intensity.
2 different quarterbacks, as we said, we'll see, as you normally do for Northwestern. Now it's Trevor Siemian, the pocket passer, in to start this drive. He'll hand one to Mark. And Rick Mark picks up 2 as we check in with Robert Flores again.
All right, Bob, Oklahoma State extending their lead over Purdue, 14-0 at the Heart of Dallas Bowl on ESPNU. Blake Sharp from Clint Shelf. Shelf has a couple of touchdown passes. Late first quarter, Cowboys up 14-0.
All right, Robert, thanks very much. 2nd down and 8. Siemian on his first completion to Rashad Lawrence, close to a 1st down. It'll be 3rd down and 1 as we go down to Allison.
On the sideline, secondary coach Tony Hughes was telling his guys, tackle, tackle, tackle. You've got to tackle better. We missed way too many out there. He was glad they held him to just the field goal on that last drive. He said, all right, now you know you can play with them all day. You got to keep your head in the game.
Well, they couldn't get stops on 3rd down on that first drive. Here's a chance for Mississippi State on 3rd down and 2. Henrik Mark turns the corner. A 1st down and then some. Venrick Mark all the way down to the 31-yard line. Someone better tell Corey Broomfield, Venrick Mark is flashing SEC speed today.
Yeah, you think he's fired up there? Venrick Mark with an outstanding bounce to the outside to find some running room. And, man, he is fast. He's shifty. He's not the biggest guy at 5'8", 170 pounds, but he is impressive. That's a 22-yard gain for Venrick Mark.
Back to Kane Coulter as he'll pitch one to Tyrus Jones. He's tripped up at the 30-yard line. Still a gain of 3. Sets up 2nd down and 7 as we are inside of 2 minutes to go in the first quarter that has been dominated by Northwestern. 2 interceptions of Tyler Russell, a 13 or 14 play drive offensively to go along with a pick 6, and now they're on the move again. Siemian well protected right at the 1st down marker. Finds Riley. Let's see where they spot the football. Looks like he will be a yard shy, so it will be 3rd down and short again.
These super backs or H-backs for Northwestern, they're going to play a big part in this game because they work that middle of the field zone. You know, you're not going to throw the ball too successfully against Mississippi State with their defensive backs. They're going to have to work the middle part of the field.
3rd down and 1. Simeon back in to take the snap. Right up the middle, and that is an easy first down picked up by Northwestern again.
That's a pretty big statement for Northwestern on two third down and two-ish situations on this drive alone, keeping it on the ground and being able to pick those up. And that's setting a physical tone in this game. And Dan Mullen's got to be getting a little bit more concerned that his players have got to battle their way back into this game. They've got to match the intensity level.
Mississippi State's 0 for 2 on third down. Northwestern is 5 for 6. And the only one they missed was 3rd and 13 after the delay of game before the field goal. Simeon, that pass deflected. He wanted the screen out to the far side right. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
Well, that was a nice job by Mississippi State, recognizing a quick hitting pass and just batting it down. You hear me say it all year long, Bob. The best thing, if you can't get to the quarterback, if you can't sack him, then bat the ball down. It's so effective, and it's so frustrating for a passing attack to think you've got good protection, you've got a guy open, and then you just can't get the ball to your receiver.
Well, Ryan Brown's a 6'4" defensive end. He gets the deflection, sets up 2nd down and 10, the 8th play of this drive. Simeon hands to Benrick Mark, cuts it back to the 20-yard line, a gain of 1.5 yards. And that should take us to the end of the first quarter. And a big play coming from Mississippi State defensively when we come back, trying to hold Northwestern to a field goal and stay behind by only 2 scores to start a game that's been dominated by the Wildcats. Welcome back to the TaxSlayer.com Gator Bowl, set for the start of the 2nd quarter. And Northwestern facing a critical play here as Mississippi State tries to get off the field defensively on 3rd down. 3rd down and 9. The Wildcats are 5 for 6 on 3rd down to start the game. Trevor Simeon, the pocket passing quarterback, takes the snap. 3-man rush. Long throw to the sideline, and it is incomplete. That's a big momentum stop, Danny Cannell, I think, for Mississippi State defensively. To get the 3rd down stop, and now to only be down, assuming the field goal goes through, by 13.
Back-to-back stops in the red zone when they need it. I thought Simeon might have underthrown this ball just a hair, trying to hit Christian Jones on that corner route. Mississippi State had man coverage across the board. Simeon made a good decision with the football, just not the best throw.
37-yard field goal attempt is right down the middle. It's a game that really across the board could not have started worse for the Bulldogs, and yet they hold Northwestern on 2 long drives to only field goals. If you shake off the pick 6, you realize you're only down 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, their defense has done a pretty nice job of buckling down when they've gotten down in the red zone, forcing Northwestern to kick those field goals. Now their offense has got to generate some sort of momentum. They've got to do something. Tyler Russell has to shake off those poor decisions, those 2 interceptions, shake those off, and get Ladarius Perkins involved in this game. Try to get that ground game going, because right now, Northwestern is pretty much dominating both sides of the line of scrimmage.
Mississippi State came into today tied for 5th in the country in the turnover ratio at +17, but they're already -2 with the 2 interceptions thrown by Tyler Russell, and that has accounted for 10 of the 13 Northwestern points. And Dan Mullen's team, they're trying to reestablish, or at least I guess you could say from the start establish, a winning tradition in Mississippi State. If they win today, it's only the 5th time in the history of this program that it would be a 9-win or better season. Robert Johnson from about the 7 to the 28-yard line. The Discover Orange Bowl is on ESPN tonight. Jordan Lynch and the MAC champions, Northern Illinois, look to make a statement with a high-powered offense against a stingy defense. The ACC champs, number 12 Florida State, They'll take on Northern Illinois in the Discover Orange Bowl tonight at 8:30 on ESPN. Also live on the Watch ESPN app and ESPN Radio. A tense night coming for Danny Cannell.
Should be a good game. Should be fun to watch.
Won't be fun for you. Ladarius Perkins back in the game at tailback. And he picks up maybe a yard. Damian Proby there to make the tackle. It's amazing for our entire broadcasting crew, a group that's been together all year and wrapping it up today with the TaxSlayer.com Gator Bowl. The overwhelming crew sentiment to root for Northern Illinois tonight. I don't know what that says about how they feel about you, but I kind of went, took
like
a survey. They really, really are big.
You know what? Jordan Lynch.
NIU fans.
Florida State better be ready for Jordan Lynch, although he did provide a lot of bulletin board material.
I think 3 of our guys bought Jordan Lynch jerseys this week.
I think so, too.
Russell under pressure. Floats one down the sideline. And just barely overthrows Clark. Now it's going to be 3rd down and 10. And that whole Northwestern half of the stadium here in Jacksonville on their feet. As Mississippi State's 0 for 2 on 3rd down.
Like I said, Bob, it's great. You're enthusiastic. You're into this game. But they're really putting a lot of energy forth right now. I would say, hey, pace yourself a little bit.
Three-man rush. Russell, high throw, incomplete, 0 for 3 on 3rd down. And the Wildcats about to get the football back again.
Well, I hope that was a throwaway for Tyler Russell because he had no business trying to fit that ball in, but sometimes you will kind of airmail it over a receiver just to throw the ball away. I think Dan Mullen, a lot of talk right now with Tyler Russell trying to just communicate, trying to look in his quarterback's eyes, see what he was thinking, ask him about the decision. So critical a communication between a quarterback and his coach.
Baker Swedenberg with a wobbly kick. That takes a sideways hop and dangerously near a couple of Northwestern players. And boy, Pat Fitzgerald all over his guys for not being aware of where the football was. Jacksonville, and there was a DirecTV mobile studio sighting as it stopped here at Everbank Field on its road to the BCS Championship. Made a stop last night. I saw it. Chick-fil-A game.
Plus logs a lot of miles, doesn't it?
No question. And trying to log some work as that offensive group over on the sideline for Mississippi State off to a rocky start, to say the least. Kane Coulter back in with an empty set at quarterback. Again, a quarterback draw. Coulter bounces it to the outside. He's got a 1st down. All the way out to midfield, a gain of 14.
Kane Coulter is so fun to watch. A flag comes in late. See if Mississippi State came in after Kane Coulter was out of bounds, possibly.
Foul, face mask, number 5 defense, 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
Nico Whitley called for the personal foul, so all in all it becomes a 28-yard gain now for Northwestern.
Here's one look. Kane Coulter as he's carrying the ball.
Hard to pick it up there.
I tell you what, Kane Coulter puts so much stress on defenses. So many different things he can do.
This time he'll run the option with Benrick Mark, and that goes nowhere, a loss of 4. One of the first big impact plays made for Mississippi State defensively, and it's Matthew Wells that came up and read the option and buried Benrick Mark. A loss of 4, 2nd down and 14.
Yeah, Mississippi State, they need to do something either side of the ball to shift the momentum, to come up with a big play. That was a start right there for Matthew Wells, able to make a nice tackle for a loss, really attack that play. That's what Mississippi State has to do, get a little bit more aggressive of a mindset. Right now, they're just reacting to everything Northwestern's throwing at them. They need to take some more chances, dial up some more blitz, get a little bit more aggressive.
Cyrus Jones in motion. Instead, it's a screen back to the near side that's intercepted. Danico Autry breaking tackles, still on his feet. All the way down to about the 15-yard line. There's a big momentum-changing play for the Bulldogs.
Danico Autry, watch him right there, the end position. Looks like he's blocked. We talked about it earlier in the game with Tyler Russell through the pick six. That's exactly the same situation. Danico Autry coming out. Now, you've got to get him on the ground. If you're the right tackle making that block, you've got to ensure that he cannot get back up and make that type of play. But how about the athleticism by Danico Autry and the run after the catch? Pretty impressive. And talk about a momentum-shifting play. That's exactly what the Bulldogs needed.
Russell play action fake. That's tipped and intercepted. Picked up by Chichi Araguza. And the Bulldogs hand it right back. The third interception for Tyler Russell here in the first half. Hard to think he was going to get that football near his intended receiver, Malcolm Johnson.
Now watch the pressure on Tyler Russell. Gets pressured, but look where he's throwing the ball. If you freeze it right there, there are three Northwestern, 1, 2, 3, count them. All three of those Northwestern defenders are closing in on that route. Tyler Russell desperately needs to shake off this rough start.
Dale has won the NASCAR's most popular driver award 10 times. And guess who is with Allison down on the field in just a moment as Northwestern takes the field again offensively at their own 16-yard line after the two teams trade interceptions. And it's Kane Coulter going back to work. Hands one off to Tyrus Jones as we go down to Allison.
Thanks, Bob. Dale, you drove the TaxSlayer.com car out onto the field for the coin toss. Did you have to remind yourself not to tear it up too much?
Yeah, I was a little worried about driving on the field because it's just something that you don't get to do too often, but it was a lot of fun. I got to thank TaxSlayer for bringing me out here. They brought me out here 2 years in a row. It's been a lot of fun to be a part of the coin toss, and we're watching a great game.
We sure are, and we're watching Northwestern try to snap a bowl winless streak that goes back to 1949. This year on the NASCAR circuit, you snapped a winless streak. That was 143 races. What is that like when you're trying to get a win that seems to continuously elude you?
Well, if Northwestern ends up winning this game, it'll be a celebration for their fans. It'll last a couple days, I'm sure. They'll be excited about it. There's a lot of energy in the grandstands over there every time there's something good happening on the field, and you can feel that these guys are excited about what's happening here today.
There's a lot of your fans here, but I know you also are a football fan. You follow the SEC a little bit. Who are you going to be rooting for in about 2 minutes here?
The Gamecocks. Been a Gamecock fan for a long time. Been pulling for Steve Spurrier most of his career, and look forward to a good game for them guys. Yeah,
Gamecocks taking on the Wolverines today. And also on the pro side, who are you rooting for? Is it the Redskins, right?
Absolutely.
You've got to feel pretty good right about now.
Yeah, really excited about the Redskins, what they've been able to do this year. It's been great being a fan.
All right, thank you so much, Junior.
Thank you.
Bob.
Allison, thanks very much. And boy, did he get a cheer from the crowd when that 88 came out of the tunnel. We are definitely in NASCAR country down here in Jacksonville. And so far, it's been Wildcat country in the TaxSlayer.com Gator Bowl. Another third down conversion on that throw from Kane Coulter to Demetrius Fields.
Another beautiful throw, just as he was getting crushed, too.
Coulter, quarterback draw. And he will get back to the line of scrimmage. Danico Autry on the tackle. It'll be second down and long. Another check-in, though, with Robert Flores.
Hey, Bob, top of the hour. It is Georgia in the Capital One Bowl on ABC. Under 10 minutes to go. Jarvis Jones and the Bulldogs taking on Nebraska. And then on ESPN, it's the Outback Bowl as Denard Robinson in his final game as a Michigan Wolverine. Wolverines wearing some slightly different gear in their game against South Carolina. That's on ESPN. Bob?
Well, back here in Jacksonville, Robert, a short gain for Venrick Mark and another third down and long coming up. Cameron Lawrence on the tackle for Mississippi State. And again, it's on that Mississippi State defense to try and change momentum as Danico Autry with an interception and a big return just to see Tyler Russell throw his 3rd interception here in the first half to put Northwestern back on the field offensively.
And their defense is doing a better job recognizing what Northwestern is bringing, keying off Kane Coulter, kind of corralling him in the pocket, not letting him do as much damage with his legs.
Northwestern, though, is 6 for 8 on 3rd down. And Kane Coulter has thrown for a couple and run for a couple. They'll try and run for another. And he won't get there. Ripped out of bounds at about the 40-yard line by Darius Slay. So that time the Bulldogs get the 3rd down stop.
Perfect example of what I was just talking about. Kane Coulter earlier in the game, we saw him pick up a couple key 3rd down plays with his legs. That time Mississippi State, they dropped into pass coverage, but then they reacted extremely quickly to Kane Coulter trying to get it on the ground, came up and made a nice tackle.
Couple of return men back deep for Mississippi State, Jonathan Banks and Chad Bumpus, as Brandon Williams will kick it away for the first time. A wobbly kick. And it'll be Banks, the Thorpe Award winner, out to the 37-yard line. Good field position for Mississippi State. Can they get anything going offensively, though? It is a nice time of year to be in the Sunshine State. Beautiful weather today for the TaxSlayer.com Gator Bowl as Northwestern on top by a couple of touchdowns over Mississippi State. Josh Robinson for a gain of 2. Good field position to start this drive for the Bulldogs. And let's take a look at our Aflac trivia question. Aflac! Which state has the most bowl games this season? We'll have that answer coming up. Turning the corner is Robinson. Breaks a tackle. Gets by another. Down the sideline goes the redshirt freshman. Cuts it back inside the 10. Still on his feet. At the pylon. Is he in? No signal yet. It looks like he might have stepped out of bounds at about the 3. They'll mark him down at the 2-yard line. 1st and goal, Bulldogs. And boy, did Mississippi State need that.
Boy, in a big way. But watch Northwestern's defensive end right here. Watch his reaction. He comes up. Instead of going for the back, he goes for Tyler Russell. He was right there, had a tackle for a loss. Just a little bit mislaid by Northwestern, and Mississippi State is able to capitalizing it, making that just one poor mistake. They get the huge run. Now they're knocking on the door.
And now Dak Prescott takes over at quarterback down at the 2-yard line. Whistles and a false start, which changed things radically. As instead of 1st and goal at the 2, it'll be 1st and goal at the 7. That'll probably mean a quarterback change as well.
Number 32, offense, 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
That's going to put Tyler Russell back in the game. As now Dak Prescott, more of that dual threat run-pass option close to the goal line, Danny, in short yardage.
Yeah, Mississippi State, they desperately need points here with the struggles they've had offensively early in this game. Remember the last time they were down in this area, they threw the interception.
A little toss to Ladarius Perkins. Maybe gets to the 5-yard line. Brought down just inside the 6, where it will be 2nd down and goal. David Wabusi led the charge for Northwestern.
This is where, if you're Mississippi State, you have got to challenge your offensive lineman and say, hey, look, you're a big SEC-type offensive line. Look at that look on Dan Mullen's face. He knows the importance of this drive right here. You have got to put this on the offensive line, especially the way Tyler Russell has struggled with his decision-making. Northwestern has done a tremendous job shedding those blockers up front.
Dak Prescott back in at quarterback. High snap. It'll be another false start. Boy, just when Mississippi State gets some momentum going, they shoot themselves in the foot.
False start, number 61, offense, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Well, this has got to be so frustrating for Dan Mullen to watch his team just absolutely killing any chance they have each time they get down here. And you know, it's frustrating because for a coach, you haven't played a game in over a month. You're sloppy, but you would figure by now in the second quarter, both teams have kind of shaken off whatever rust was there. But Mississippi State, several mental errors so far in this game.
Northwestern has looked sharp from the start. So what once was first and goal at the 2 is now second and goal just outside the 11. It's Tyler Russell back at quarterback. Draw play to Perkins. He's down to the 9-yard line where it will be third down and goal, and that's Araguzzo
Boy,
to make the stop.
Nice open field tackle by Chichi Araguzzo. Well, Darius Perkins tried his best, put a little spin move on him, but Chichi Araguzzo saw that coming from a mile away. And Pat Fitzgerald talked a lot about getting up there, being more aggressive with their tackling.
Now what do you call? Tyler Russell's thrown 3 interceptions. I mean, how frisky do you get taking a shot at the end zone here? You have to.
Yeah, you have to. You're down in this position. You got a 3rd and long.
Pat Fitzgerald wants a timeout. Pat Fitzgerald just ran down the sideline about as fast as any player has run on the field.
I think he's still got a pretty impressive 40 time with that right there. Boy, that Northwestern was having some communication issues. Mississippi State went with a 5 wide receiver set, was spreading Northwestern out. They were having trouble getting lined up, so a wise decision there to take the timeout.
Corey Broomfield doubted whether or not the skill position players for Northwestern have SEC speed. Their coach does. Pat Fitzgerald's probably faster than any head coach of the SEC. At least he certainly looked like it there as we take a look at the answer to our Aflac trivia question. Which state has the most bowl games this season? Right here in Florida. 7 bowl games played this year in Florida.
Look at that.
By virtue of the fact that it's the BCS championship game, puts Florida in the lead as the BCS title game will be played in Miami on January 7th.
Where would you rather be on New Year's Day? Right, look at this weather. It's beautiful out, right?
So says the newly minted resident of the Nutmeg State. So now after the Northwestern timeout, 3rd and goal from just inside the 10. Empty backfield for the Bulldogs. Russell throws end zone through the hands of Bumpus and incomplete. 2 false start penalties back up Mississippi State, and instead of 1st and goal at the 2, they end up outside their own 10-yard line and have to settle for a field goal.
Boy, Tyler Russell had a chance for a touchdown right here. Chad Bumpus, the senior receiver from Mississippi State. If he leads them just a little bit more to the outside, look at Bumpus has to slow down and then turn around. If he leads them over near the pylon, he might have a chance for 7 right there.
So the true freshman Devin Bell was about to attempt a field goal and instead whistles.
Timeout.
And a timeout.
Mississippi State. They're first of the half. 30 seconds in length.
Here's one more look at Tyler Russell trying to hit that corner route. You can see it would have been a spectacular catch. Pretty nice defense by Northwestern as well. Jimmy Hall in the pass defense right there got that one hand up. But I really felt like if Tyler Russell would have thrown that ball away from the defense, kind of thrown him open, so to speak, they would have had a chance for a touchdown.
About 5 minutes away from our halftime report. We'll be heading back to the studio and checking in on what's going on between Georgia and Nebraska. The Bulldogs taking on the Huskers. Of course, game day in Pasadena leading up to the granddaddy of them all. And a preview of the Orange Bowl tonight as well. 27-yard field goal attempt for Devin Bell to try and get Mississippi State on the board. The true freshman is 12 of 19 on the year. He pulls that one a bit left, but it sneaks inside that upright and does indeed get the cowbells ringing for one of the first times this afternoon. Welcome back to Jacksonville. Look at the St. Johns River running right through town. And a beautiful day for football here in northern Florida. Northwestern off to the 13-3 lead here in the TaxSlayer.com Gator Bowl. Bob Wischusen, Danny Cannell, Allison Williams at Everbank Field. home of the Jacksonville Jaguars, where only a couple of wins this season for the Jags. And it's only been one bowl win in history for Northwestern, as it is well documented. The 1949 Rose Bowl, when they beat Cal 20-14, their only bowl win. They've lost 9 bowls since, 7 losses since 1999. And last year, for their bowl game, Pat Fitzgerald actually had one of the players on the sideline carrying a purple monkey on his back, representing them trying to get the monkey off their back, and they couldn't against Texas A&M. Here's Venrick Mark at the goal line. Tripped up at the 27-yard line. And the All-State Sugar Bowl is on ESPN. Wednesday night, Will Muschamp's Gators are back at a BCS Bowl after defeating 4 teams in the top 12, and now they take on the BCS champions, Louisville, led by Teddy Bridgewater. The All-State Sugar Bowl, number 21 Louisville against number 3 Florida. Coverage starts at 8 p.m. tomorrow night on ESPN, also live on the Watch ESPN app, and Danny Cannell and I will be there along with Allison calling that game on the radio. And we'll see if Louisville can hang in there with a pretty good team.
Yeah, Teddy Bridgewater, if they can protect him, could keep it close.
Mike Trumpy takes a handoff for about a yard as we go back to Robert Flores.
All right, guys, let's get an update on South Carolina and Michigan in the Outback Bowl on ESPN. Connor Shaw to Namir Bird, 56 yards. And the Gamecocks up early in the Outback Bowl on ESPN, 7-0.
A 10-point lead for Northwestern here in Jacksonville. 2nd down and 10. Trumpy again. Not much there. Dwayne Charrington led the charge from Mississippi State. It'll be 3rd down and long.
I'll tell you, if Mississippi State can get off the field here, get their offense the ball back, get some points before halftime, as ugly as it seemed, I mean, it just seems like Mississippi State has no chance being in this game. They can go into halftime with some momentum and fight their way back into this game.
Third down and 9. Late clock down to 3. Coulter has to call a timeout. A 30-second timeout on the field, and we'll step away for a half minute.
For whom does the cowbell ring? For our students winning national competitions. For our faculty providing outstanding learning experiences. For our research improving our future with each new discovery. For our outreach and service touching lives every day. For whom does the cowbell ring?
It rings for all of us at Mississippi State University.
Bob Wischusen, Danny Cannell, Allison Williams back in Jacksonville. Well, Northwestern has a 10-point lead, although Kane Coulter was forced to call a timeout just now. But now it's 3rd down and 9 after the timeout. And the cowbells are roaring as the Mississippi State fans realize they've got a chance to get the football back before halftime. Only a 3-man rush. Coulter escapes the pocket. Tries to get to the sideline. And comes up at least 6 yards shy of the first down. Cameron Lawrence tracked him down. And now the Bulldogs, with only a field goal on the board, about to get the ball back.
And again, on a 3rd down situation earlier in the game, Kane Coulter was 2 for 2. He got hot with his legs. But as of late, Mississippi State doing a much better job realizing where he is, recognizing when he tucks and runs, and coming up and making a stop.
Banks fields the punt, makes the first man miss at the 25, and gets a block. Banks tries to turn the corner and dives out to the 38-yard line. So good field position after a 12-yard return by Jonathan Banks. And Mississippi State with Banks down on the turf and his helmet off, and that is cause for concern. The senior, the Thorpe Award winner, #1 defensive back in the country, first team All-SEC selection, and he is shaken up.
Yeah, and you just, when you see a player's reaction like that, it's almost like they know something is wrong. And you got to hate to see that. Jonathan Banks, such an outstanding career at Mississippi State. Dan Mullen raved about what a quality person he is. You see him in agony over there. I mean, you're talking about a player who's, you know, months away from seeing a dream come true in the NFL, and you just hope that this is a minor injury.
Boy, he looks like he is more angry than in pain.
Well, I mean, trust me, it's in the back of every player's mind when you're playing. It's your last game ever, especially if you have a chance at the NFL, saying, you know what, let's make it through the game. Let's give me my best opportunity, to make this into a career. And to see something, to have an injury, your last game ever, which could dramatically, affect your draft status. It's just heartbreaking to see it happen.
Banks helped up and favoring that left leg, but able to trot off the field. Who knows, though? Obviously, he will go back and get tested. A senior defensive back that was named an All-American by 9 different media outlets, including a first-team Walter Camp All-American, only the 3rd first-team Walter Camp All-American in the history of Mississippi State football, and an AP second-team All-American.
And trust me, at 6'2", 185 pounds at the defensive back position, or if you're a shutdown corner, you can play for a long time in the NFL.
16 career interceptions and 4 this year. Let's keep our fingers crossed for Jonathan Banks. Cutback run for Ladarius Perkins. Spins for a first down.
Now, it may not show up on the board with Mississippi State still trailing 13-3, but they have grabbed some of the momentum. They're starting to win more of these battles in the trenches on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively. Now the biggest question mark is, can they get some points before they go in at half?
All the time in the world coming up on 2 minutes to go in the first half, and still with 2 timeouts. Perkins. A little jitterbug move in the backfield, making Northwestern Wildcats miss. Out of bounds, stopping the clock at the 32-yard line.
But Ladarius Perkins is so much fun to watch. When he gets the ball, you better make sure you get 2 or 3 defenders up around him, because he can start and stop and start as quickly as they go. That's another nice gain. 20 yards he picked up there. Very patient runner in the backfield, lets his blockers get in front of him.
They'll try it again, and why not? A gain of only 2 this time to the 30-yard line. David Wabusi made the stop on Ladarius Perkins. And with the first half Tyler Russell has had, I'm sure Les Kenning, the offensive coordinator, and Dan Mullen would be more than happy to just keep handing it off to Ladarius Perkins and let him do the work.
Especially if they keep getting 6-7 yards a pop and a 20-yard gain mixed in between.
Russell, long throw to the sideline, finds Chad Bumpus. That's good for another first down, and the clock stops again with 1:19 to go, and that'll save Mississippi State the use of their timeouts, a gain of 9 more. Ladarius Perkins to the 20-yard line, steps out of bounds at the 17, just inside the 18. Jared Carpenter made the stop as we go down to Allison.
Well, you saw Jonathan Banks go in the locker room. The word is that he is okay. They are calling him probable. It did look like he had a laceration on his left leg. Bob?
That is great news.
That is great news.
2nd down and 7. Russell, long throw to the back pylon. Leaping catch is made by Arcito Clark. Touchdown! What a catch by Arcito Clark. If you're going to catch your first touchdown of the season, why not do it in the bowl game and have it be a possible top 10 play on SportsCenter? (13-10) with 1:06 to go in the first half.
And what a spectacular catch by Arcito Clark. Gonna run a corner route back to the back end zone. See a post corner, sets up the post, then breaks it outside. And this time, Tyler Russell does throw him open, just like I talked about the last time. Throws it back there, and then, of course, it always helps to see the receiver come down with it. Spectacular catch. Keeps his foot in bounds. Incredible athleticism right there. One more look at Arcito Clark.
Terrific play.
Outstanding athleticism right there. And how about Tyler Russell? Just the composure to make that throw in that type of situation. He had a horrendous first half, but to be able to step up there and make a critical throw like that to get his team back in that game, pretty impressive.
Well, they got the cowbells fired up now as the Bulldogs have done a great job to bounce back from a nightmarish first quarter to strike for 10 straight points and get the Northwestern lead down to only 3 and an unreturnable kick. Well, it was a great start for Northwestern, and talk about a great week to be a Wildcat. Yesterday here in Jacksonville, Northwestern's University President Morton Shapiro formally announced an unprecedented series of gifts. More than $55 million in support of a campaign for athletics and recreation. They're going to build a new multi-use athletics and recreational complex. It'll be located right on the shore of Lake Michigan at the north end of Northwestern's Evanston campus. And part of the complex will include a large indoor multi-purpose facility used for major events, an indoor practice and competition venue for intercollegiate sports, space for recreation, club sports, and intramurals. It's going to change Northwestern's campus in a big way. And now changing this game in a big way continues to be that defensive front for Mississippi State. Devin Jones knocks down the pass. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
Here's one more look at what Trevor Siemian is dealing with, trying to throw to his left. And that is just an outstanding job by Devin Jones, getting that big mid up there, knocking down that pass. And I'll tell you what, remember we talked about Mississippi State having to match the intensity level? They have done just that.
Siemian, a slant. That'll be well short of a first down to Christian Jones. And now you think one of the two teams might call a timeout with 50 seconds to go before halftime. Mississippi State has a chance to maybe get off the field on defense if they were to call a timeout. Northwestern, though, I'm sure, is not going to be in any rush to run a 3rd down play here. And they're taking their time, and why not?
Yeah, I think Northwestern, they've got to get back offensively anyway. They kind of toned it down a little bit in the second quarter. In the first quarter, they came out very innovative, showing a lot of different formations. Got much more conservative in the second quarter.
On 3rd down, Northwestern will simply run it up the middle and go to halftime. Mississippi State, from Dan Mullen, I'd be calling a timeout.
Yep.
And at least force the punt. As Jones made the stop again, it'll be 4th down and 1. And the Bulldogs will force Northwestern to kick it away, as we'll step away for 30 seconds once again.
Go you Northwestern. Go Northwestern, break right through that. With our colors flying, we will cheer you all the go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
Big momentum swing here in Jacksonville. Northwestern had a 13-0 lead, but Mississippi State's defense has changed this game around. They got 2 stops forcing Northwestern field goals. And after a 5-for-6 start for Northwestern on third down, Mississippi State has turned that statistic around as well. Wildcats get the punt away, and they get the roll of a lifetime. All the way down inside the 5-yard line, and that'll end the first half. What a momentum swing for Dan Mullen's team. He's down on the field with Allison.
Coach Mullen, a much better finish to the half than start. What was your message to Tyler Russell after the 3 picks?
Well, you know what? I had him go in the locker room. I said, go take it in the locker room, take your helmet off, untie your shoes, splash some water on your face, retie your shoes, and let's start this whole thing over, because I haven't seen you done that poorly before. So erase whatever's happened, run out of the tunnel again, and restart it, reset yourself, and he's done a nice job of doing that.
How has your defense kept you in this ball game?
They're doing good. I mean, we're fitting, we're tackling. We missed the first drive. We missed a couple tackles, you know, on the first drive of the game. But, you know, overall, I think our defense, we're fitting the ball well, and we're tackling well.
Coach, thanks.
Thank you.
Bob?
Allison, it was a terrific effort to turn things around for Mississippi State. And we've got a game here in Jacksonville. It's halftime. The halftime report now. Back to John Saunders.
Alongside of Lou Holtz and Mark May, as I guess, you know, you would expect teams in a New Year's, the first game of the new year, to maybe be a little rusty, right?
A little rusty.
A little sloppy?
How about a lot of sloppy? How about protecting the football? You look at both of these teams early in the game, they just couldn't hit their stride. And look at the way Mississippi State started this football game. They turned it over 3 times early, and Northwestern wasn't much better. They also had an interception in this game. But what I like in this game is I like people being on the spot when they need to be. Watch this. First series for Mississippi State, pick 6 for Northwestern. Bad pass by Tyler Russell. What does Northwestern do? They capitalize on it. They've got the lead. 7-0 right here. 6-0 after this, after the extra point, 7-0. But look at the hustle I want you to watch on the defensive end, Danico Autry. We're going to take another look at this. This is a big defensive end that's got to get his paws up, make a great athletic play like this, take the ball down the field inside the 15-yard line, but I want you to watch the hustle. Here he gets cut, so that's not a bad thing, but look at the extra effort, getting off the ground, getting the interception, but then on the ensuing series, watch this. Mississippi State turns it right over again to Northwestern. That's what I mean by a little bit sloppy, a lot of bit sloppy, rusty with the football. That's just not playing ones against ones, and they're not used to the speed of the game. But as you saw, as time went on in the second quarter, they got used to the speed of the game again.
We always had bed check the night before.
I was going to ask.
New Year's Eve, I'm not sure they made bed check last night because both teams came out just a little bit flat. But, you know, when you look at the game, it's SEC versus Big Ten. It'll be interesting to see. I congratulate Mississippi State on coming back, but Northwestern has a way of winning close ball games. You don't know how they do it, but they find a way.
Especially those SEC comments talking about
one fast guy will stick out.
Basically, yeah, it's saying that the Big Ten is slow. The second half is coming up. Of course, the Capital